Hello, my brothers and sisters, once again. There is something here which we need to discuss, whereby we need to understand when Paul says that faith is without works, and James is saying that faith without work is dead. Are they conflicting each other? Are they conflicting each other? Because Paul says faith is only by the grace of God, but the works does not matter. And here we see James saying that faith without work is dead. Are they conflicting each other? James 2 verse 24, you see then that man is justified by works and not by faith alone. Ephesians 2 verse 8 to 9, for by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourself, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. Also, that's one we see from the book of Romans 3 verse 28. Do Paul and James believe in the separate gospel? Is the Bible contradicting itself? Certainly not. James is focused on giving practical details of what faith is and how it looks like. James is only concerned after the fruits of faith. Paul is concerned after the roots of faith. We are saved by only faith. Only faith is the one which will make us to be saved. But this faith, when you have been saved, it has to produce fruits. So, Paulo focuses on the origin of our faith, which is a free gift from God. And James focuses on the end, the fruits of the faith which we have, which are the good works. Faith is not simple mental assent. When a belief is truly held, it changes the believer, not because they have to make it so, but because that is what beliefs do. James' point is that people saying that they have faith and not having it show up in their lives is an example of dead and useless faith. Faith looks like Abraham. He believed God, which led to the natural expression of these beliefs in his action. Abraham was considered to be faithful even before offering Isaac as a sacrifice. So he was considered as a faithful. Now the act of offering Isaac as a sacrifice proved his faith on God. He was not considered faithful after offering Isaac, but before offering Isaac, simply because this faith comes as a free gift from God. Now the faith he demonstrates in giving is Isaac as a son. That's what we call the works of the good works of the faith which he had even before offering Isaac. Actions then are not to be added. Actions are not to be added. They are simply to be unhindered as they happen from the natural results of belief and trust in Jesus Christ. The faith alone saves. Actions are not to be added. Action comes as a result of the faith which we have in Jesus Christ. James says faith needs work, and Paul says work needs faith. No contradiction. James says faith needs work, and Paul says work needs faith. No contradiction. In Romans 5 verse 1 and 2, and also Romans 4 verse 1 to 5, Paul says that Abraham was justified by works. If Abraham was justified by works, he could brag. If Abraham was justified by works, he could brag. Then he did nothing to be saved. He was only saved and was justified by the faith alone, which is the grace of God. Then if so, salvation becomes a wage for good works, not a gift. So if we are becoming righteous for what we do for the works, then now salvation becomes as a wages, but not as a gift from God. But in Genesis 15 verse 6, Abraham believed in God and he was justified. He just only believed in God and he was justified. And we also get to know Noah received the grace of God. Noah had the grace of God even before he started building the ark. So the grace of God, which he has from God as a free gift, enabled him to build the ark and to obey God's commandments. Faith alone unites us with Christ for righteousness, and the faith that unites us to Christ for righteousness doesn't remain alone. It bears the fruit of love. Faith alone unites us to Christ for righteousness, and the faith that unites us to Christ for righteousness doesn't remain alone. It bears the fruits of love. Depending entirely on Christ is how we are justified and how we are sanctified. Paul struck one note and James struck the other. Both are true together. They bring Christ's glory due his name. Paul talks on the roots of salvation, faith alone, while James talks about the fruits of faith. That's what we call works. Paul also talks, faith expresses itself through love. Galatians 5 verse 6. So if you have faith, you need to express love to your neighbors. That is faith in works. And the fruits of the Holy Spirit are love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. If we have these are the fruits of the faith which we have in Jesus Christ. Now, ye see then how that by works man is justified, and not by faith only. For as the body without spirit is dead, so faith without work is dead. It is essential to have faith in Jesus and to believe you are saved through him. But there is a danger in taking the position that men do take, saying, I am saved. Men have said, you must do good works and you will live. But apart from Christ, no one can do good works. Men at the present day say, believe, only believe, and live. Faith and works go together. Believing and doing are blended, my dear friends. The Lord requires no less of the soul now than he requires of Adam in paradise before he fell. Perfect obedience and blemished righteousness is required from us. The requirement of God under the covenant of grace is just as broad as the requirement made in paradise, harmony with his law, which is holy and just and good. Romans 7 verse 12. The gospel does not weaken the claims of the law. It exalts the law and makes it honorable. The gospel does not weaken the claims of the law. It exalts the law and makes it honorable. Under the New Testament, no less is required than was required under the Old Testament. The same requirements which were in the Old Testament, they are the same requirements which are in the New Testament. Let no other take up with the delusion so present to natural heart that God will accept of the sincerity no matter what may be the faith, no matter how imperfect may the life be. God requires of his child perfect obedience. In order to meet the requirements of the law, our faith must grasp the righteousness of Christ, accepting it as our righteousness. Through union with Christ, through acceptance of his righteousness by faith, we may be qualified to work with the works of God, to be collaborators with Christ. If you are willing to drift along with the current of evil and do not cooperate with evil agencies in restraining transgression in your family and in the church, in order that the everlasting righteousness may be brought in you, you don't have faith. Faith works by love and purifies the soul. Through faith, the Holy Spirit works in the heart to create holiness therein. But this cannot be done unless the human agent will work with Christ. Allow Christ to work with you. We can be fitted for heaven only through the work of the Holy Spirit upon the earth. We can be fitted for heaven only through the work of the Holy Spirit upon the earth. For we must have Christ's righteousness as our credentials if we could find access to the Father. In order that we may have the righteousness of Christ, we need daily to be transformed by the influence of the Spirit, to be partakers of the divine nature. It is work of the Holy Spirit to elevate the taste, to sanctify the heart, and to ennoble the whole man. Believe in Jesus Christ, have faith in Him, and you will be saved.